So we have Marcel Tannig. He's from Austria, but he lives many people's dreams, and he moved to Spain. So if you're inspired, ask him. And he's WordCamp Vienna organizer, and he's as well WordCamp Europe veteran. So he was a speaker in the past, volunteer, organizer, co-lead of content team, attendee, and now he's a speaker again. So, Marcel, it's yours, and let's get rid of fear of WP-CLI.
Thank you, Carolina. Thank you. Let me ask you a question. How many of you still install and configure WordPress completely manually in the backend? Hands up, please. Who is automating it? A little bit less. Okay. I hope by the end of the talk, the number of the people do it manually should hopefully drop to 0. Okay. My name is Marcel Tannig, and I've been working with WordPress for like over a decade. I'm a freelancer since around 2018. And currently, I work with on-the-go systems, leading a technical support team for WPML. And I contribute to WordPress through both code and community, organizing WordCamps, speaking, and helping others in their grow via my blog or in person. And I'm also a really big fan of WP-CLI. But let me tell you how I got into it, because this tool completely changed the way I work. And that's exactly what I want to share with you today. I didn't know it at the time, but one online webinar ended up completely changing the way I work. It was the summer of 2019, and I was watching a SiteGround webinar where Alan Schlesser introduced something I had never heard before, WP-CLI. And I was blown away, installing WordPress, activating plugins, setting everything up, all without clicking through menus. And I shared it with my team right away, and then they encouraged me to make an internal presentation. And then, just a few months later, I was on stage at WordCamp Vienna teaching WP-CLI to a room full of developers. WordPress launched, plugins running, options locked, and all in seconds. And that's when I realized I had been doing it all wrong. And I wasn't alone. In 2021, I led a WP-CLI workshop at WordCamp Europe's online edition and saw firsthand how many people still do everything manually, without any automation. And that's when it clicked. Automation isn't just for DevOps. It's for everyone. And that experience sparkled this talk. And today, I will show you how WP-CLI, scripting, and now AI will help reclaim your time. So if you ever set up a WordPress site from scratch, you know the drill. You will install WordPress manually, or most likely with a hosting panel. Then you will configure your WP config PHP. You set your permalinks, add users, SEO, caching, and security settings. And then you will install your go-to plugins and your template. It's fine the first time, but maybe even the second. But by the 10th, it's mind-numbing. And here's the real problem. It's inconsistent and error-prone, especially when you're juggling multiple projects. And worst of all, it's a complete waste of your time. So that is when I started asking myself, why am I doing something a machine could do? I'm automating everything. Why not my WordPress setup? I know, for most people, automation can feel like a magic trick, like a cheat code. At first, it seems impossible, but once you experienced it, you actually can't go back. As I said before, automation isn't only for DevOps people. And WP-CLI changed everything for me. With just one command, WordPress was up and running. But I wanted to go further. That was not enough. So I began creating simple bash scripts to automate everything what I needed. My plugin, my starter theme, setting the settings, permalinks, and configuring all my desired options. Imagine this. You have the script that installs WordPress for you. Then another command, fine-tune your settings. And then it fires up your custom stack. And you're done. Just like that, done. Fast, consistent, and actually finished before your coffee gets cold. Here's an example of a WP-CLI script with a peek at the underlying WP-CLI commands. If WP-CLI is new to you, no worries. In a later slide, you will get everything to get started. You will get WP-CLI commands, you will get the basic introduction, you will get a shell script, and an automation tool, which I will explain a little bit later. So you can see, for example, we are downloading the core, we are configuring the database, installing the core, setting my rewrite structure, installing plugins like WooCommerce, Yoast SEO, and activating the plugin. That is actually everything what you need to start automating your setups. Think about it as an agency. You can create one boilerplate and reuse it every time, and everybody in your team is using the same settings and nothing will get missed. Okay, now, after a while, I started sharing my scripts, and it seems people really liked them, it was helpful for them. But there was always the same problem. Not everyone was comfortable enough using WP-CLI or writing bash scripts. So I started asking myself, how can I make this easier for the people who are not using the terminal on a regular basis? So that's when I had the idea to build a web-based script generator with actually no coding and no CLI, just a simple visual tool. You can just tick a few checkboxes like WooCommerce, Yoast SEO, the template you like, and adding your permalinks, for example. And in one click, you can get a downloadable bash script ready to run. No deep terminal skills needed, no coding, and actually no fear. You just make copy, paste, and go. Okay, we started with manual scripts, every command hand-typed. Then automated setups with WP-CLI sped things up. And now we are in the era of AI-powered tools, like for example Vercel v0, Replit, and Lovable, that help us to build automation tools in a fraction of time. They're not generating the setups directly. They are the enablers that help us to create WordPress automation tools faster and more efficiently. They help us to turn ideas into working concepts without writing every line of code ourselves. And we are moving from concept to working prototypes in minutes and not hours. And once these tools are built, they're reusable, ready to adapt for future WordPress projects without starting from scratch. And I started to ask myself, if AI can accelerate setup generation this much, what else could it do? What if AI could go even further? Okay, let's have a quick look how an AI assistant tool for WordPress can look like today. That's just a visual example I created. You can set up your site title, tagline, time zone, permalink structure. You get even a preview of the setting. You can set up templates from a list. You can add to the list. You can add an external URL from GitHub or from every repository you have. You update the checkboxes, some more advanced setting, and it can build for the people a downloadable bash script. You can copy-paste all the commands without actually remembering the commands or without actually knowing them. And last but not least, you can even spin up a WordPress playground install with all the plugins and templates running. So that's maybe a possibility for you if you have an agency or a team with freelancers to have like a consistent baseline for every project you're doing. Okay, now that you have seen how this actually works, let's talk about the bigger picture. This is where we are today and what is headed next. Right now, we can spin up a complete WordPress stack in minutes with WP-CLI. AI on the command line, it's already real. At CloudFest, Pascal Pirchler and his team wired MCP, the Model Context Protocol, into WP-CLI. You have to understand this a little bit as the USB port of your website, which allows to connect to large language models. So for example, what you might do with this, you can create a command or run actually a command, like for example, the documentation from them shows WP-AI, create 10 test posts about Swiss recipes and include generated featured image. And you will get fully populated content instantly. And Automatic is actually also exploring and working on an MCP integration. But if you now actually think about what you can do with this, you can use the AI to spin up your WordPress instance. And in the same moment, you can, for example, create the About Me page and imprint. And then you're using the AI to generate the future image for that blog post. So you have a really constant baseline to really start. And you're giving your editors the correct tools that they're just working on the content and not on the setup. But maybe, okay, our scripts can live in Git. Our stacks can be consistent and setup will no longer be the bottleneck. We even automate things like SEO tweaks, caching, and all with reusable commands. And I was actually asking myself, like, what will happen next? A little bit of problem, I had to update that slides a few times in the last 2 weeks because things are changing too fast. But in my opinion, the next big things what will happen in that way is that we focus much more on the AI agents via this MCP protocol. This means, think for example, if you saw the demo from OpenAI's Codex tool, think like this, but for WordPress that can connect straight to your site or repository and run commands and integrations on your behalf. And what will happen next, what we could get? I could imagine some kind of one command stack build, like for example, some MCP playbooks. We can have some structured YAML JSON files, bundling WP-CLI commands, bash scripts, and maybe even Composer installed. Think for example, like something like Docker Compose, but for WordPress, what we can share between each other. And we will not just write commands, we will describe what we need. For example, if we have AI agents on the different tools and services, and every tool is using it, we can define our default plugins and run something like spin up a multilingual Woo store, connect it with Stripe, and import my products from Etsy. That will be possible. And last but not least, self-healing workflows, where the AI can detect plugin errors or outdated code, generates a fix, tests it in a sandbox or WordPress playground installed, and pushes the patch directly back into your repository, ready for the final human approval. And that's the real impact. Less time setting up and more time building. Scale faster, work smarter. Okay, my takeaway for you. Automation isn't about being lazy. It's about eliminating distractions so you can focus on what truly matters. And here's my challenge to you. Never set up WordPress manually again. The best developers don't waste time on repetitive tasks. They automate them. Next time you're about to set up a new WordPress site manually, ask yourself, is this something a machine could do? If the answer is yes, let it. AI is here to assist, not replace. It helps you to automate the setup so you can focus on strategy and not the scripts. And that's the real takeaway. Build more, learn more, rest more. You've got better things to do, so go do them. We just have 2 slides more. Please go to this link, download the resources, and start automating one thing today. Your future self will really thank you. And if you're ready to make the first step, I have compiled everything in this link so you can download the source code from the AI setup generator and the WP-CLI information, everything you will find here. Thank you for listening. Let's connect after the talk at the WP Cafe. I'd love to hear what you're automating or how you're using AI to make your workflow smarter. Thank you.
Thank you.